Black Indian, copper-color Indians, dark-skinned Indians of not just the southeastern United States, but can you also explain how Black indigenous people were found here by the earliest conquistadors, and maybe even give us some historical quotes or examples of some of the earliest explorers describing these Black Indians?
Sure. The reclassification of Black Native Americans refers to a historical process where indigenous people with darker skin were often labeled as African American or simply as Black, particularly in the southeastern US. This was a way to strip them of their indigenous identity and rights, especially during colonization and following the Civil War. It was also tied to broader efforts to erase Native American land claims and tribal sovereignty. Early conquistadors did encounter indigenous people in the Americas who had darker skin. For instance, when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Caribbean, he described the indigenous people as having a variety of skin tones. Similarly, Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto encountered tribes in the southeastern US, noting variations in complexion. One of the earliest descriptions comes from Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca, a Spanish explorer who described encountering dark-skinned indigenous people in the Gulf Coast region in the early 1500s. These early accounts reflect a rich diversity among indigenous populations before widespread European contact and subsequent reclassification efforts. Historical quotes and records from explorers like Columbus and Cabeza de Vaca illustrate this diversity and the early presence of dark-skinned indigenous people in what is now the United States. These descriptions highlight that Black indigenous heritage has deep roots in the Americas.
Interesting. Thank you for the information. So for how many hundreds of years have Black indigenous people been documented here in the Americas?
Black indigenous people have been documented in the Americas for over 500 years. European explorers first